Hello everyone, friends, Mozart here. I will quickly analyze the market at the beginning of the week and share a couple of my thoughts. So, overall at the moment, everything looks good, meaning I have already captured more than 20% of the movement in Bitcoin from my long position, and there is still 25% left. So the first take was at 50%, and the second I split in half, meaning 25% each. Therefore, the last take is set at the 70 to 190 mark. Why? Well, there are several reasons. Firstly, it's our 4 monthly pivot, because we exited from S4, and typically the pendulum returns here. Plus, there is the pendulum from the global descending orange channel. Here we exited, which means we can exit here by the same amount. Everything converges there, and there's the retest of this previous white ascending channel. 3 factors, plus there's a level, a fairly pronounced spike. Why not set it there? That is, with a throw-in, with a puncture, even if it is false, let it reach this take, and then go into a more extensive correction. So, overall, what has been happening in the last few days is very good. Even despite today's news that MTGX has started transferring the next batch of funds to Bitstamp, the market reacted quite conservatively. So yes, there was a correction. How many percent? About 1.5%. 1 to 1.5%. But these are not the corrections that were in the first publications from MTGX. The market, as I understand it, has already come to terms with the fact that this does not have a significant impact, and moreover, most of those surveyed who received their funds have indicated that they do not intend to sell their bitcoins at the current price. This is important. This is important for the market. Maybe they will sell them, but the main thing for them is to say, no, guys, we won't, so the market doesn't worry about it. It's in their own interest. Furthermore, we still have a gap around 58 on CME, but as I mentioned before, when the price moves so far away from the gap, the likelihood of it being closed soon is small. That is, such gaps exist, and they may remain unclosed for a very long time if the impulse is strong. That is, for example, even the latest Bitcoin, or rather, the latest gaps. How much is it? The current gap is 57,800. The last of the unclosed ones is not fully closed, approximately 47,800. There are unclosed gaps here. They are around the $40,000 mark. In general, there are quite a few of them along the movement, and not all of them get closed. Not all of them. Here is an unclosed gap. Here is another unclosed gap. This one is $27,000. Here is an unclosed gap. That means they don't always close. Such wide ones, of course, close more often, but not always. If you look at the stock market, you will see a lot of interesting things there. I think it will be closed only later. For now, I am expecting a slightly different scenario. Moving on, the weekly chart for Bitcoin also looks interesting. We have reached the median line of the global ascending trend. I consider the global ascending trend based on this double top from 2021, where the peak for Bitcoin was around $70,000. We have reached the center and are bouncing off it, which is quite logical. It acts resistance. Share target in Telegram 68 to 68,558 to 68,500. The maximum was 68459, reached it. Yes, there may be some correction from here, we can move around, but this is all considered within the framework of a correction. That's not so important. There are analysts who consider this corrective movement as a 5-wave pattern if we take Elliott waves, but for some reason, they count it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5 is supposed to go somewhere over there. Why they are skipping this extremum, I don't quite understand, because when we determine the trend, we still need to somehow relate to this trend. Let these be the extremes, that is, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I apologize, we are counting the correction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's the 5th wave, considering the correction completed. And now we have started a new movement, resulting in a 5-wave pattern. In other words, I would consider this, if not tied to extremes, as a standard correction in 3 waves, that is, a zigzag, and we continue the upward movement. And if we are considering a global upward trend, Then we need to take the months and analyze this month. So we had a bottom. December 2022, we went 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there is a corrective wave, and the fifth one is coming. And the fifth should come, they stay the same, at 83, 90, and 110 maximum in this cycle. These are roughly my current predictions. From my point of view, this is a more correct way to look at it. But again, keep in mind that I am looking at the weekly and monthly timeframes within the context of medium to long-term movements. In other words, a more global perspective. Well, 3 days. The picture is more interesting. That is, again, there are some hints that there will be a more significant correction than what we have seen before. 2 or 3 red candles and then straight up. 4-hour chart. Yes, there are divergences here. So, here they are clearly expressed. Divergences along the MCD lines are shown. They can play their role. They can send Bitcoin to retest some important zones. The nearest important zones are somewhere below, around here. That is, the same ones, $63, $64, $65,000. Right here. Here's this level. All the moving averages and diagonal support come in here. And kind of roughly there. The maximum it can be sent to right now, just to peak and quickly return, is 62. But not lower. It cannot consolidate below 62 at the moment. Otherwise, the structure will be broken. That's the maximum there. Optimally, it's right here. Or we might consolidate and continue upwards, breaking through 70 without significant corrections. Yes, it's possible. I won't go far. Here, take a look at the current picture. Yes, the chart with divergences. I'll rewind a little bit back. Here you go, how the movement went in February, March of 24. The same thing. Here the divergence is even clearer. It went in 3 stages. Now, in 3 stages. 1, 2, 3. And all this time the movement was pushing upwards. It kept pushing on some news. Nevertheless, there are still quite strong positive news for crypto right now. The movement made another 27% after the first divergence. Or let's rewind a bit. Well, for example, this picture. The field is flat. February of this year. Please, here is the multiple divergence. Here is the divergence. Here we are updating the maximum. We are doing all this in a sideways market. We are not going anywhere, trading sideways. Indicators are falling and falling, unloading, and making a new impulse. February 26th. In other words, there are plenty of such examples. When divergences are resolved in a sideways market or are cleared by an even bigger spike. What could cause an even bigger spike? Well, one of the most anticipated events is the ETF on Ethereum, set to start trading tomorrow. We'll see. Well, we are unlikely to understand anything on the first day, perhaps only the demand for these tickers. It will become clear in a few weeks regarding Ethereum. Well, at least in 2 weeks, what the real demand is there, and how disappointed or, on the contrary, encouraged the market will be by this demand for Ethereum. And because of this, the feasibility of launching the next ETFs, for example on Solana, will be influenced. This could be a good boost. Even the entire recent pre-election rally around Trump will also give crypto a good boost in the future because Trump made crypto almost one of the main symbols of his campaign. He almost wants to create a local sovereign wealth fund out of cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin. Even Biden's team at one time, the Democrats, pushed Gensler at the SEC to approve these spot ETFs on Ethereum. This means that crypto has become an important part of the American economy and American politics. He even said it would strongly support crypto and play a big role. And yesterday, Biden stepped down and Harris will take his place. I understand that the closer we get to the elections, the more crypto will grow. After all, because they don't bet much more on Harris than on Biden anyway, because her ratings are also there. In the last election, she got 1% of the votes. I think she was also trying to compete for some high positions. Total 3. Alt. Also looks good. We have consolidated above the monthly R3. Here we have even consolidated above the center of one of the channels. We are now trying to consolidate above the moving averages. And the target is here, 690. The first one for total 3. The second goal is to completely close the gap from April, the Iranian gap. 720, these are the 2 targets for total 3, on altcoin capitalization. Of course, most likely, a large portion of this capitalization will be taken by Ethereum, Solana, and memcoin with further growth, and possibly some artificial intelligence tokens as well. Then everything else will join in when the market realizes that, for example, there are good inflows in Ethereum. Why don't we then create an ETF for Litecoin, Ripple, Dogecoin, and something else? And another wave of altcoin growth will follow. Plus, the inflows show the market is growing again. Very strong inflows into ETFs. The market is starting to be flooded with money again. And when the main movement, where this money primarily goes, is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and now also Solana, it will be difficult to move there because the capitalization of these coins is already too high. These funds will move further into assets that are easier to drive, meaning other altcoins. Therefore, I remain positive about altcoins. The portfolio continues to recover slowly, my public one on the Telegram channel. By the way, it's the hashtag table, in case anyone doesn't know. Yes, I had to endure a significant drawdown, but nevertheless. If you follow the risks I provide and replicate my actions 100%, everything should have returned for you. As for the money, I am now back to those March highs. Considering, yes, of course, that I have absolutely indeed averaged quite a lot. There. Now. I am waiting to see what will happen right here. Right here. The 4-hour chart. It's interesting here. Either it will go into a range, returning at least to around 65, testing this level at a minimum, or it will go into a deeper range to 62, which is a good gap and could also return here, and that would be normal. Even good for further strong upward movement. Or it might first hit somewhere around 70, break through, maybe falsely, and then go into a deeper range. Like this. But any of these scenarios, again, is a scenario of global growth. Whether it goes up this way or that way, it seems to me that this is the current scenario based on both the technical and political picture. Accordingly, altcoins will move more or less in the same manner. That's all. That's everything for now. Thank you all for your attention. Have a great week. This was Mozart, and goodbye to everyone.